semifinal of the PORMABA 2022 and this debate competition. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Imade Denaradia Patmana, and I'll be your chairperson for this round. Before we start, allow me to introduce to you our panel of distinguished educators for today's debate. Let's start with the alphabetical order. We have Kak Dinda Permata here. Hello, Kak Dinda. Good morning.
Hello, good morning, everyone.
Okay. And also we have Kak Keisha Aime here. Hello, Kak Keisha. Good morning.
Hello, good morning, everyone.
Okay. And last but not the least, we have Kak William Aaron. Hello, Kak William. Good morning.
Hello, good morning, everyone.
Thank you to all of the educators for coming. So, according to the results of the spin wheel at the registration, motion for today's debate is this house believes that stop online school because of Omicron. So, the two teams today's debate are from statistic major and mathematics major. For the team representative I called, please introduce the debaters and the team split from first speaker, second speaker, third speaker, and reply speaker. Firstly, from the government team representing statistic major.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, everyone. We are from government team. My name is Reja Audria as the first speaker, and then Zahra Kinanti as the second and replay speaker, and for the last, Elfra Maya as the third speaker. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And next, from the opposition team representing mathematics major.
Okay, let me introduce my team. I am Lisa Devianti as the first speaker, and then Muhammad Randy Setiawan as the second speaker, Muhammad Faizal as the third speaker, and it's me, Lisa Devianti, as the reply speaker. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Before we proceed, I would like to remind the speakers of both teams of some rules and guidelines for today's debate. First, check your chat box frequently because the timekeeper is going to notify the time there. Second, when the timekeeper opens the POI time, the opposing team can offer POI. The speaker might accept or decline them. Third, a time limit of 15 seconds is allowed for each POI. You can do POI through the chat box to everyone by hashtag POI, or if the speaker doesn't respond to you, you can use the raise hand feature. The maximum acceptance of POI is 3 times, and the maximum rejection is 2 times. Fourth, if the backup member makes a speech, then the main member cannot continue his or her speech again and can only return to the forum after the backup member has finished his or her speech. Okay, before we start the match, I will give both teams 20 minutes to do case building until 10 past 29. Case building begins. case building finished. Okay, because time has some 10 past 39. Without further ado, I call upon the first speaker from the government to Reka Udria Demuti Alswinda to start the debate. First.
Okay, thank you. Good morning to the Honorable Adjudicator, our pro-opposition team and audiences. Ladies and gentlemen, the motion for today is THY, stop offline school because of Omicron. Year by year, COVID is getting more and more variants. In fact, as it is known that COVID has paralyzed many sectors in this country, one of which is the education sector, where education is a source of progress for a nation. With good education, the quality of a nation's human resource can be improved. Therefore, this is an urgency that needs to be addressed immediately. I would like to give the definition about the motion. Face-to-face learning is a learning process that is carried out directly between students and teachers or students and lecturers. Face-to-face learning here means that school and university carry out learning with all class participants, but still pay attention to exciting health protocols. The health protocols referred to here is by limiting learning time, for example, learning which was initially carried out from morning to evening, but this time the learning was carried out from morning to noon. As for the Omicron itself, according to data from the Ministry of Health, this virus entered Indonesia since November last year. The current status QO states that as of 5 March 2022, the Omicron update in Indonesia has reached 7,294 cases. However, as we know, this Omicron variant has a lower severity than other variants, so it doesn't cause many people to die. In this debate, both houses will argue whether should or should not stop offline school because of Omicron. And in this house, we believe that we should stop offline school because of Omicron. Let me to introduce our team again. Our team consists of 3 members. My name is Audrey as the first speaker, and then Zahra Kinanti as the second and replace speaker. And for the last, I'll put Maya as the speaker. We are from the government team. State firmly that we agree with today's motion. Research proves compared to the Delta variant, Omicron replicates 70 times faster in the tissues lining the respiratory tract, which can facilitate person-to-person spread. If face-to-face learning is carried out, it will accelerate the spread because the intensity of the meeting will be more and more. That can make dangerous for students if meet each other in school. And second, more learning resources. Why is this important? Because learning resources are a bridge for new knowledge for children, of course students. Online learning not only focuses on the teacher explaining, but inevitably forcing children to find out for themselves from various learning sources. The main concern about finding learning resources for a child on their own is the possibility that the child may find learning resources that are not appropriate for his age or become lazy in finding learning resources at all. However, when viewed from a long-term perspective, this will certainly directly select students who are rich in knowledge and those who are not. Science also does not only focus on books or similar learning research, but nature and all human activities are types of learning research. And second, online learning directly and indirectly forces students to learn these things. For example, online learning encourages the emergence of talent and creativity from students or create a new hobby for a child. Playing games, social media, or new hobbies such as cooking, editing, coding to sewing and sports can be pursued while learning online. Therefore, Stop offline school can make students learn from many sources so that they can further improve their knowledge that is not taught in school. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for the first speaker from the government team. To continue, I call upon the first speaker from the opposition. So Lisa Devanti, please make your speech. First speaker, you may start.
Okay, thanks for the opportunity to speak. Let me introduce myself again. My name is Lisa Devanti, and this time I'm in the negative team for the motion that stop offline school because of Omicron. As the long way the government team explained before, I got a point from them that online school can increase the talent and hobby from the students. But I think if online school keep going like this, they can forget about their study and just focus on their hobby, and that's will make the student grade will go down, and they just forget about the study. Next, why we strongly contra about this stop of offline school because of Omicron, because the offline school is the way more effective for the students, and the students might need to do the lesson directly under the teacher's control, especially for elementary students that newly learn to the study world. And then it can increase the focus rate because the students learn in the same place with the others. So this house would strongly recommend some way to continue the offline class, such as first we can use the half class method for school, because it can reduce the change and it can avoid the crowd. Then we can reduce the class and lesson hour. Then student can still effectively learn because the teacher explain the material directly, and then when the class over, they can practice by themselves. It's more effective than online class. The teacher might be explain the lesson by the video, and the student try to understand themselves, and that's kind of hard for some students. And then the last, I heard that the first speaker before said that we can just obey the pandemic health protocol, and then it can reduce the chance to infect by Omicron. Yes, we can do such as social distancing, sanitize yourself and your belongings, and then never forget to wear mask. And then according to the National Health Ministry, the case of the Omicron is going down, and then we think it's okay to just continue the offline school. So we just need to get more attention for something in offline school and pay more attention, so that we can continue it, and the student can learn better. That's all for me. Thank you for the chance.
All right. Thank you for the first speaker from the opposition team. Before we move to the next speaker, I would like to remind you, when the timekeeper opens the POI time, the opposing team can offer POI through the chat box to everyone by hashtag POI, or if the speaker doesn't respond to you, you can use the raise hand feature. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to listen to the second speaker from the government. To Muhammad Randy Setiawan, please deliver your speech. Second speaker, you may start. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me call again for the second speaker from the government, Zahra Priliakinanti, to deliver her speech. Second speaker, you may start.
First of all, I would like to thank you for the time given to me. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to firstly disagree with the argument that has just been given by the first speaker of the opposition team. So the first speaker of the opposition team has just said that offline school is way more effective than online school. I strongly disagree with this because online school can still be as effective as online school, especially with all the learning online platforms that are already available online. We are already living in a very advanced technological world right now. So having online school doesn't necessarily mean it is less effective than having offline school. And the first speaker also said that, especially for elementary students, who needs more teachers' guidance, and they also have the potential to lose their focus rate when they have online school. I disagree with this because actually, when you have offline school, there is a higher chance for them to actually lose their focus because of their friends. But when they have online school, because they're alone in their room and they have less chance to communicate with their friends, they're able to focus more on their study. And our house will stop offline school to stop the spreading of Omicron that is currently at a very high rate in our country. Research proves that compared to the Delta variant, the Omicron virus is 70 times more transmissible respiratory tract. If offline school is held, it will accelerate the spreading of the increase of intensity of face-to-face communication. It is important to note that the level of seriousness of a disease or virus on humans is not only determined by the replication of the virus itself, but also the immune response of each individual. I would like to reject the POI first. Immune response of each individual towards the virus. That is a quote from the head of study in University of Hong Kong, Dr. Michael Chen Chi-wei. The long-term effect of this holding offline school is that those who are infected but does not show any symptoms contribute a lot to the spreading of the virus, which is about 40.5% according to research uploaded by Selasa in the journal JAMA Network Open. Secondly, if offline learning is held at school, the teachers won't have the capability to watch over the students as much, meaning that it is highly likely for a physical and other contacts to happen between students. We need to remember that as well. We need to remember as well that these students haven't met each other in a while, meaning that they will be very excited and very thrilled to meet their friends after a long time. Hence, again, the spreading of the virus would increase and could cause a lot of fatalities that would affect the next leading generation of our country. Thirdly, we also need to remind ourselves that we have been doing online school for almost 2 years now. If there is a sudden change and students need to go back to offline school again, this will affect their mental health. We have been getting used to the regularities of online school mentally and physically. Not only that, but teachers and students have also adapted their way of teaching and learning to online school. Both sides won't be ready to suddenly start offline school again after 2 years of having online school. Therefore, our house will think that as a solution for this matter, we should postpone holding offline school until the Omicron COVID cases go down and it is safe enough to hold offline school. Online school are not necessarily less effective when done to its maximum quality. There are so many online learning platforms out there, such as Google Classroom, Zoom meetings, and so forth. Therefore, our house will stop offline school during this Omicron era. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for the second speaker from the government team. Now, I call upon the second speaker from the opposition, Muhammad Randy Setiawan, to deliver his speech. Second speaker, you may start.
Okay, first of all, thank you very much for the chance to speak at the second speaker. Okay, at this occasion, first of all, I would like to rebut the arguments of the government about the Omicron have 70 times more transmissible and easier to replicate. Okay. Why is this just only mentioned at the school? Meanwhile, when I'm living now, I'm currently at Malang. There's almost all cafe and fun fair are still open. How is that different scenario when it's happened at school or at the cafe or fun fair? Okay, so I think the problem is not about the Omicron is transmissible, and then about the learning method when in home, about the children have many sources or they can do whatever they want about the studying how. It sounds too good to be true for me. Okay, according to Suara.com, and they had an interview with the parents of the students that still in school, that they wish we need to really start the full 100% school, because at home they don't have friends, they cannot socialize. Okay, and at that age it's really important for students to start to socialize with their friends or their teacher, with their environment. Okay, so it's bad even when at that age they cannot socialize. They almost gonna be a no life in the future. Okay, so this makes psychological damage for the parents too, because at this time they have the triple or double responsibility. First of all, before the pandemic or when it's still 100% real-time schooling at real-time learning at school, the parents' problem is only about finding money or working hard for their children. Okay, but in this time, they still need to work, but they need to watch their children about the study. This is hard, really hard. Okay, so that's my rebuttal, but this is my real argument. This house would not stop. Disagree about stopping the offline school because of Omicron. First of all, online method is not an effective way to learn. It's not just because it needs technology. It's really less interactive than real-time studying in classroom. Okay, and then about the Omicron variants, according to Europe World Health Organization, there is the fact that Omicron has appeared to be less severe than Delta variant, but it should not be seen as mild. Of course, this is not mild, but the problem is, this is a real problem if the person did not have a vaccine. Okay, but here's the thing: Indonesian have already starting vaccine is already almost 1 year ago, and according to the vaccine.kemkes.go.id, which is the website from the Ministry of Health of Indonesian, okay, for the students which is 12 to 17 years old, the first vaccine is already 93%, and the second vaccine dose is already about 77% from the target. Okay, and for the 6 to 11 years, the vaccine rate is 72.49% and 49.42% for the second dose. This this is a, this is good news. This is, we're leaning towards the full-time studying in the classroom. Okay, and once more, we're already battling with this pandemic for 2 years. Of course, we already have a countermeasure to prevent something like new cluster, especially at the school, which is, we think that the most effective way is using the shift thing. Okay. Oh, okay. Sorry, Sam. I'm gonna reject the POI first. I'm gonna continue my argument. Okay. This is the, we're going to prevent new cluster. Okay. So with the shift system, we're gonna cut down the time of the studying, but we're gonna separate the 50% for the one shift, and the second shift is 50%. Of course, this is gonna cut off some time to run, but this is better than nothing. This is better than just slacking around, lazing around in the bed, doing nothing. But when this start, you're just gonna ask for some friend for to fulfill your task and then submit it without needed to think, just copy and all. Okay, I think that's all my argument. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you for the second speaker from the opposition team. I shall now call upon the third speaker from the government team. Okay. To Elvira Maya Sofwa, please, to deliver her speech. Third speaker, you may start.
Okay, first of all, my name is Elvira Maya Sofwa, and now I want to rebut the argument from second speaker. So, about friends and family, we know that are many problems about friends and family, but do you think this case is more important than student life? About many people to get a better life, to keep safe and healthy. We know that the COVID can give big impact for many people, like they have obesity and additional disease, and also elderly people like our grandfather and grandmother. And then, first, online learning can give many positive impact. We know that online learning is not only focused on the teacher explaining, but also for students to find out for themselves from various learning sources. This can be good for us because many people in Indonesia have to be more open about technology, and that they have to try to be independent. And this condition can force them to be more independent, and also they can find their other talent. Online learning have more spare time, so we know when many students are bored, they can try to find their other hobbies. Like I'm sorry, I reject the POI. And this online learning can increase their creativity. And then the second, from the research that say that the Delta variant that compares about Delta variant and also Omicron variants, the Omicron is replicates 70 times faster than Delta variants. We know this is very dangerous because when it's spread to many people, it can give big impact to our life. We know that are many people in Indonesia have many problems about their economic, and if the case is increased again, it will be very dangerous for our economic situation. For example, in Indonesia, by this case about the faster of Omicron replicates from the Compass on January 31st, Depok City, which initially implemented 100% PTM, have been forced to stop offline learning because of the discovery of 289 cases of COVID-19 in school environment, so that about 34 schools have been forced to stop their offline learning. And then offline learning can give many impact for our life, like mental health, because in the last 2 years, the learning system and almost all lines of human life have been carried out online. The habit that have been built in the last 2 years on online learning, such as our sleep, such as our learning to get many resources from internet, and our interaction with many people. When we have to do offline learning again, our body have to adapt with the condition to talk with many people, and then to sleep with different hours, like we have to do in the last 2 years. So I'm sorry, but I reject the POI. So from all these arguments, we agree to stop offline learning, and the solution, we should postpone holding offline school until the Omicron case go down and it's safe enough to hold offline school. Online learning are not necessarily less effective when done to its maximum quality. There are many online learning platforms. Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you for the third speaker from the government team. It is now time to listen to the rebuttals of the third opposition speaker. To Muhammad Faisal, please deliver your speech. Third speaker, you might start.
Sorry, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Thank you for the opportunity that given to me, the honorable judges and all of you, and I'm going to deliver my speech in 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, the first speaker from the affirmative team said that Omicron can spread faster than Delta. But here, I want to rebut the argument, because the fact that according to Republica.com, yes, that Omicron can spread faster. But a recent study in the United States found that the SARS-CoV-2 variant of the Delta infection with the new variant of the virus that caused COVID-19 leads to shorter hospital stays, less need for the intensive care, and lower mortality. And the first speaker also said that if we are using online school, it can boost our capacity. Okay, sure, but you just think only for a short time. Offline school can further increase our skills capacity, because we can immediately apply those skills directly in life. Meanwhile, with online schools, we can only learn certain skills, for example, only learning skills online without applying them in life. And I want to rebut the second speaker from the affirmative team. I strongly disagree with her argument that online school on elementary health organization websites self-study will actually increase mental disorders, because they only study alone without any verbal interaction, because they only stare at the screen. In fact, if your child is always staring at the screen, there are many chances that they will open the game afterwards, because according to 60.3% of the children in Indonesia prefer to open games than online schools. And then I want to emphasize the argument from my first and second speaker from our team. The first speaker says that the house must stop offline school because of Omicron. Why we strongly against with this motion? My first speaker from the opposition team said that the offline school is more effective than online school because according to the research from the from one of Brawijaya University lecturer based on CNN Indonesia said that in the face-to-face teaching and learning process, there are values that can be taken by students, such as the process of social, cultural, ethical, and moral maturity that can only be obtained through social interactions in an educational area. The inner relationship between students and teachers becomes boring because they never greet each other and meet face to face for a year. Moreover, students who have just finished grade 1 at the elementary, middle, and high school levels feel this the most, where they are registered as students for 1 year but do not know who their teachers and friends are at the new schools. With that fact, it will be caused another worse fact that according to CNNindonesia.com, the dropout rate also occurred as a result of online school distance learning during the COVID-19 pandemic. The statement was the acting director of SMA, Kemendikbud Perwadi Sutanto. According to Perwadi, one of the APS cases occurred in high school students in West Nusa Tenggara. In this case, the child decides to marry early. And our second speaker from the opposition team said that we can use the shifting methods when we are applying offline schools in the middle of Omicron. I strongly agree with Randy's agreement because according to the Ministry of Health website, we can set the methods if some considerations that must be considered are the level of risk of spread, the readiness of the education unit, and the fulfillment of a number of conditions that support face-to-face learning to remain safe from the potential transmission. The application of using masks, maintaining distance, and washing hands are adaptations of new habits that must be applied with discipline. And I want to deliver another fact that according to CNBC Indonesia.com, that the trend of the confirmed case of COVID-19 in Indonesia has shown a decline over the past week. On other hand, the number of COVID-19 patients being treated in hospitals tends to be sloping. Nationally, there are 36.48 patients being treated. In the past week, CIDI revealed that national positivity rate has started to decline. National 17.77%. That's all. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for the third speaker from the opposition team. Now that we have heard all the three speakers from both teams, to summarize, I call upon the opposition reply speaker, Lisa Devianti, to deliver her reply speech. So Lisa, please start now.
Okay, thanks for the opportunity. Now I will tell you the reply of our argument. Like I used to say that offline school is the way more effective than the online school because it can make the student know the lesson directly from the teacher and under the teacher's control, and then especially for elementary students. And then it can increase focus rate because they are at the same place with the other students. And then offline school can make them more socialized with their friends. And we know that social life is important too, not just their study life. And then we believe that whether the students can become lazy if we stop the offline school, and then they were try to learn technology, but the technology is very dangerous too. If the parent can watch their kids, it might be can make the situation getting worse. And then we believe that there are many ways to avoid the chance of Omicron spreads, and we can and by the stop of offline school, like my friend said before, that there are so many mental problem when they're alone at home, because not all kids can deal with their alone time, and then they can get more stressful, and there's many symptoms can get from that. And we strongly recommended that some way to reduce the chance to infect by Omicron, such as half class method or shifting, like my friends said before, and then we can reduce the class and lesson hour, and then we just obey the pandemic health protocol, and then that's it. We got all the students get the same lesson from the teacher directly, and they can be more focused. And at least it's not just about the spread of Omicron, it's about the students, because the students is the pillar of the future of our country. So we still strongly believe that stopping offline school because of Omicron is not effective. Thank you. That's all from me.
Okay, thank you for the request speaker from the opposition team. Now, I shall call upon the government reply speaker, Zahra Priliyakinanti, to make her reply speech. To Zahra, please start now.
Okay, thank you for the time given to me. Allow me as the reply speaker to summarize this debate and assure you that our argument is superior in this debate. As we can conclude, there is a clash of viewpoints from the affirmative team and us, there's a clash of viewpoints from the affirmative team and the opposition team, where the government team will stop offline school and the opposition team will not stop offline school. Our house arguments are that online learning can not only increase students' academic ability, but also their non-academic sides, such as hobbies and creativities. It also allows students to be more independent in the way they are learning, which is a good thing. The Omicron variant is also 70 times more transmissible than that of the Delta variant. So it is very risky to hold offline school right now. It might cause fatalities that will affect the next leading generation in our country. The student and teachers are also already adapted to online school for 2 years. So suddenly starting offline school will be a shock and could cause negative effects to the mental and physical well-being of the teachers and students. As for the opposition team, they will not stop offline school because of Omicron. They believe that with online school, students can forget about their studies and focus more on their hobbies. Hence, their grades will go down. And they believe that offline school is way more effective, especially for elementary students, because they still need teachers' control and guidance. And studying with their friends will increase their focus rate. Another of their argument is that the vaccines in this country are already held to a high rate. And there are shift systems in school, which, according to them, is safe enough for offline school to be held. Our arguments are better and more reliable as we focus more on the well-being of both parties, which is the students and the teachers. As we know, if you are unhealthy, then it doesn't matter how good of a quality the education learning is, it still won't be as effective. The opposition team only focuses on the learning effectiveness, but doesn't care about the physical well-being of the students and the teachers, knowing the current situation right now in our country. This is kind of egoistic, as we also need to prevent these students and teachers from getting infected. Online school is the exact right solution in the situation, as not only it brings benefit towards their academic, but it also helps prevent infection of the virus and fatalities to happen. Therefore, we believe that the arguments from our house should win this debate, and that offline school should be stopped because of Omicron. Thank you.
Thank you for the reply from the government team. So that marks the end of the debate. The adjudicators will now do evaluation for today's debate and hand over the results. So I will give the floor to the adjudicators. Let's start from Kak William. So Kak William, please give your evaluation.
Okay, thank you. First, I want to say thank you and appreciate you guys for good maths. This is a tough job for me, and I'm very confusing. Okay, and first I want to evaluate you guys. From the first speaker from government team, you gave a strong and detailed facts, also evidence. Therefore, you're doing your job very well, and your pronunciation was good. And from the data, you can convince me as the educator and convince all of audience. And for the first speaker from opposition team, I think the first speaker from government team have a strong fact, but you responded very well and convincingly. Plus, you provided some evidence, and I see in previously maths there is so much silence moment, but today I see your nervousness, it's gone, and that's a good progress one. And for the second speaker from government team, in this moment I feel, wow, you responded first speaker very well, and how do you convey is influence me, and your pronunciation, expression, and intonation is a good point too. And for the second speaker from opposite team, you request the POI, and that's good. But you can accept the POI that you rejected to extend your time. And overall, it's good. You can keep your advantage in previous maths, and that's good enough. And for the speaker from government team, you have a good opinion too, but your expression can be better than this. And for the speaker from opposite team, I feel kind of surprised to your rebuttal, and I'm not expect you can respond it very aggressively and convince me very well. And the important thing is you rebut a government team statement with facts and evidence, by the way, and I'm very comfortable with your accent. And last, well, thank you for government team and opposition team for the intensive and good maths today, and I'm very impressed for the progress that you guys give to me. And well, at the moment, I think it's a final maths, and don't be discouraged because you guys play a beautiful and really amazing maths. Thank you for everyone. That's all for me.
Okay, thank you, Kak William. And next, for Kak Dinda Permata, is make your evaluation. So Kak Dinda, time is yours.
Thank you. First, I would like to appreciate the hard work of the both teams. First of all, I really like this match because I personally can feel the tension in it. And then begin with the first speaker from the opposite team. The first speaker of the opposite team did not explain much about Omicron itself, which in my opinion, there are many arguments that can attack the government team from the side of Omicron virus. And then for the second speaker of government, the way she can convey the argument, I think it's very good and very convincing, and I think that's good. And then for the second speaker of the opposite team, is really good in rebuting the opposite argument. I think he's also good at giving examples too, and I think that's That's really good. And for the third speaker of the government team has a good point, but can be more calm in presenting your arguments. And then the third speaker of opposite team has a really good example and evidence for me, but he needs to keep eye contact to the audience. And I really appreciate the opposite team that start giving POI the first time. And I think my conclusion is the both team have already did their best. And that's enough for me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you Kak Dinda. And rest from Kak Keisha Aini. To Kak Keisha, please make your evaluation.
Okay, thank you for the time. I would like to appreciate both teams, either from the government or the opposition team. You guys did a great job here. This was a great match, and I like your intonation. I like your confidence when you are telling us your arguments and also the facts, the reasons, the evidences. There are so many evidences which you provide us that can support your team's arguments, and also the facts to support your arguments. And also I like your expression, I like your gesture, and also the time management here is obviously better than the previous match because you guys use the time given to you really effectively and better than the previous match. And also I would like to appreciate the POI, both teams that try to give POI. Maybe you can accept one of the POI given from the opposite team, and I would like to appreciate that you can still focus on your arguments when the opposite team give POI, and you didn't panic when you see the POI. And I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Kak Keisha. And thank you to all of the educators for the evaluation. I would like to announce that the result and the final score of today's debate will be uploaded on Instagram at PORMABA 2022. So keep on following PORMABA 2022's social media to get more information. Next, I'd like to thank both teams who took part in this PORMABA 2022 English debate competition. I also like to say thank you to our educators who contributed time and effort to this competition. If there were any inconveniences during the competition on behalf of the commit, I would like to apologize. Before we close the forum, it would be nice if we close with a prayer. Pray begins. Okay, enough. I am Imadir Dinaradia Patmana. Thank you for your attention. See you later and have a good day, everyone.